Oh shit! Spilled water on myself. Great way to start this out. But yeah, this is going to be the discussion where we talk about Celeste. Initial release date. Shut the fuck up.
It was good. That's why I'm
Yeah.
wooing.
Yeah, it was a good game. The information for it is the initial release date is January 25th, 2018. The composer was Lena Raine. Felt it was important for this one because it's got a really good soundtrack. Developed and published by Matt Makes Games, Inc. and costs $20 or your regional equivalent. And the platforms are Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, Macintosh, Linux. So everything that matters. Except for Linux, because Linux doesn't matter.
Wow.
Untrue.
I mean, it does matter, but
Not to you.
doesn't matter to me, no.
It will
So
if
it
you come to
doesn't really
SCAD.
matter. Interesting. It did matter to some people at ID Tech because people at ID Tech taught stuff like Ubuntu and stuff like that. I don't know. They're all weird to me. But the description for the game is help Madeline survive her inner demons on her journey to the top of Celeste Mountain in this super tight platformer from the creators of Towerfall. Brave hundreds of handcrafted challenges, uncover devious secrets, and piece together the mystery of the mountain. Yeah.
So where do we start? There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Do we start with the gameplay? Like that.
Well, let's first introduce ourselves and do initial impressions of the game.
Okay. Who's going first?
I'll go first since I brought it up. Nick, I bought it for the Nintendo Switch. Part of the reason I picked that game because it was on the Switch, and I need more Switch games.
Always need more.
Always need more. And I thought it was a really good platforming game with solid mechanics and well thought like game design. And it reminds me a lot of like Super Meat Boy and all that. And just think it's a really good game. Yeah.
All right, well, I'll go next. I am Mitch. I also really liked this game. The gameplay the gameplay is very like classic, and there's not a lot to it. But at the same time, all the mechanics and the levels throughout the game make it really fun, and it has a lot of good level design and game design, just in general. Overall, really great. And so far, I've put 22 hours into the game.
Oh, damn.
Damn. All right, I'm Noah. I got the game on Steam. I've loved the game so far. It's been a lot of fun. There's just so much to like figure out and find as you're playing that like you had no clue even existed when you first started. So it's a lot of fun to figure out all that stuff.
Yeah. Did you play with a controller or a keyboard and mouse?
Yeah, I play with a
keyboard.
360 controller.
Oh yeah, by the way, I played a Switch as well. If it wasn't obvious.
I played a little bit on Switch.
Yeah, me and Noah played a lot together because we're
Nice.
both here.
Yeah, I played for about 10 hours. It's about as much as it took for me to beat the campaign and one of the B-sides. I really liked it. It's a very charming game. The gameplay feels really good, really satisfying. I also really liked Super Meat Boy, so this was kind of right up my alley. And yeah, I played it on Steam with a 360 controller. I'd be interested to see what it's like just with a keyboard and mouse. I would assume it kind of sucks with a keyboard and mouse.
I tried a little bit, I think, with the keyboard and mouse, and it was, I mean, at least for me, it felt very awkward.
I don't know. I had a hard time like doing diagonals with the joystick, like
Oh,
diagonal
yes.
jumps and movements.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So I
it-
felt like it would be better keyboard to get that like actual movement.
I feel like with the keyboard it would be even worse because normally directional control is like even worse on a keyboard.
Well, for these types of like 2D platformers, just like WD or WA, just or the equivalent with S, do the trick.
With
They're not too
me,
bad.
with this game, every once in a while, I still use the D-pad on the Switch instead of the joystick because you can use either. But my brain is not used to using the directional pad on Switch because I never had a game that's used it. So it's been really hard to train my brain to like actually even use the directional pad. And that was a hard thing. But in general, I really got annoyed quite often with the stick because quite often you want to go diagonal and you don't, or you don't want to go diagonal and you do. And that was very frustrating.
Yeah.
Do we want to start with
yeah.
gameplay, or should we also talk about our statistics through our gameplay, like strawberries, deaths, and stuff like that?
Yeah, let's do statistics.
Right, how many strawberries did everyone get?
I have 53.
I don't know for sure because I can't look at mine right now. But I had like 105 or something.
Damn.
I had like 75, I think.
I have 119.
I was slacking.
And in total, I think there's like 150 or something.
There's 175 total.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot that are really, really, really hard to get.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a little bit of just context to all of this. So basically, this is a puzzle platformer. Well, not really puzzle, but a platformer primarily game where you play as a girl named Madeline who's climbing this mountain. And you go through a number of levels. I think there's 7, maybe 8 if you include the last one. Yeah, 8 included if you include like the bonus level that you can unlock. And there's a bunch of different mechanics, and there are different collectibles that you can find. You can collect strawberries, which are basically just little bonus challenges that don't really do anything. You've got one tape that you can find in each level that will unlock a B-side for that level, which is basically a version of that level that is way fucking harder.
Yes.
And if you beat that, you get a heart.
You get a red heart.
Yep.
Also,
And-
every level has a blue heart, if you don't know that. The default level has a blue heart in every single level.
Yeah, I think
And
I only
also-
found one of those.
I don't know for sure, but there are also C-sides, not just B-sides.
What?
I have never gotten a C-side, but I'm pretty sure the C-sides are hidden inside the B-sides, just like the B-sides are hidden inside the regular.
Oh,
Okay.
Yellow hearts.
Yeah, the C-sides give you yellow hearts. So there's a red heart for every level, a blue heart for every level, and a yellow heart for every level.
ugh.
And those hearts, I haven't gotten to the part where you actually use those hearts, but I know that you at least use 3 of them to unlock the final level, which is like the core of the mountain.
If there's there's 7 levels plus a like bonus level called the core, and in order to start the core, you need 4 blue hearts. If you don't have 4 blue hearts, you can't start the core level at all. So you have to find 4 blue hearts before you can even start the level. And also, me and Noah have been talking about this, and we're pretty sure there's actually a 9th level,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not sure because we haven't neither of us have beaten the core, because the core is really fucking hard.
Yeah.
And the core also has a B side, which then means it also has a C side, and also has a blue heart and a red heart. But we haven't even scratched the surface of the core, because I'm on chapter 3 of the core, and it is really, really, really hard.
Oh, you're in the core?
Yeah, I have the core unlocked. I have 7 of the 8 hearts right now for blue hearts,
Oh wow.
and I have 1 red heart because I've completed 1 of the B sides.
Yeah, I also have 7 of the 8 blue hearts.
We kind of worked together, me and Noah, to find the blue hearts. We were like
Okay.
working back and forth, like when we would find them, communicating to each other where they were and helping each other out. So like together we worked together to get all the blue hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But they're not easy. A lot of them are really hard.
Yeah,
Like-
like one we found totally by like the way to get to it totally by accident.
Like
Yeah.
multiple like accidents happened to get us to the heart.
Yeah, I didn't know that hearts existed until I
To the-
accidentally collected
hotel?
one of the until I accidentally collected like a jewel, and then I found
Oh,
a place
in
where
the
you
last
could
level?
insert the jewel. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you didn't see the heart in the hotel? Because they force you to see one of the hearts in the hotel level.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Because when I got to the hotel, that was the second heart I had found. There's the level where you do the dreaming part with like the boxes you can like dash through. At the end of that level, you can like platform up past Theo, and way up in the sky you can find a blue heart, but you can't access it there. It's just to show you where it is.
Mm.
And so that I knew blue hearts existed because I found that playing through my first time, and then I found the second one in the hotel, but I couldn't access either of those. And then later, me and Noah found a bunch more and worked together to get the rest of the blue hearts. We don't know where the blue heart is in the core because neither of us have beat the core yet,
Yeah.
or gotten the B side for the core.
Hmm. Well,
How many deaths do you guys have? Because my deaths are really high.
well, you've played a lot more so far.
That's true.
I've got around 3,000 deaths currently. It
I'm
was
around 2,500, I think.
I'm at
You guys are-
4,300 or 4,400.
Do you guys remember like how many deaths you had when you beat the game?
Well, I've been kind of I've been looking for stuff as I've been playing through the game.
Okay.
I've also been going for pretty much every heart as I found them. So my deaths have been high since the beginning, pretty much.
I see.
I think I had just under 2,000 when I beat the game. I
Yeah,
think I also had
that was
like
the same for me.
yeah, but I did do like a lot of exploration when I was playing because like I had like 97 strawberries I think when I finished the game.
Dude, those B-side missions are super hard.
I haven't finished any of them yet.
I only
did-
finished the old site, and that was a really long,
I started that one.
extended.
I've done the
Calendar.
Celestial Resort. Same
Oh, I'm
as-
sure that was hard.
I can't remember how long it took me, but it took me 1,100 deaths.
For me, on
It's
like
so long.
on the old site, my first playthrough of the old site, I was 96 deaths, and that included going back and getting the blue heart and the B side. Was 96 deaths total, and then the B side, which I did all in one sitting, was 516 deaths.
Nice.
So 96 versus 516. Like B sides are so hard, and they require so much precision.
Yeah, I got stuck at like some parts for the longest time. They're good challenges though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that's really interesting about this game. Is it does have a pretty good like kind of casual feel for a while, and then you just once you get like your first B side or whatever, it just cranks up the difficulty.
Even
And-
like the summit, like the last level.
oh yeah, the last level as you're going through like the different checkpoints, it gets really
Like,
fucking hard.
Mirror Temple, Reflection, and the summit. Those last like 3 levels before the core, they get really hard.
Even the
Yeah.
hotel was really hard.
Yeah.
I was gonna say even the strawberries, because like if you ignore the strawberries, it's relatively easy.
Because you can
That
skip a
track-
lot if you don't go for strawberries.
Yeah, but those
Yeah.
are just like extra challenges because they're not even used for anything.
In general, though, most strawberries are not easy to get, and they're
Yeah.
definitely challenging. But I also feel like by going for the strawberries most of the time, I definitely felt like I got a lot better at the game because I kept trying these hard challenges.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like this game requires so much precision that it's really easy to just fuck up things.
Yeah. I think depending on how many strawberries you have at the end of the game changes the epilogue and like what the reaction is to everybody's like your pie.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I think.
Why did they not like your pie?
that'd
No,
be
they
really.
like mine.
They
They kind of just said like, "Oh, you tried," or something like that at the
Oh,
end.
like I got a pretty positive reaction.
Yeah, they really loved my pie. They were like, "Oh man, this is the most amazing pie I've ever had."
like Theo's like I'm gonna take a slice home to my sister.
Yeah, the old lady and Leo like refused, but then the evil Madeline was like, "I'm gonna eat all this by myself," and then she's like, "Oh well, I meant figuratively. I'm not actually going to."
Oh god.
Everyone hated my pie.
Oh damn. That's interesting that they even have that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's
That's
cool.
cool. I feel like I want to like get every strawberry, but I feel like it's never gonna happen because there are some strawberries that I tried endlessly to get, and I just could not get
There's
the
some that I'm
timing
just like,
or mechanics down.
there's some that I don't even like know how to get access towards.
There were some that are like you can like see them, and they're
Yeah.
in, like a hidden space, like on the side of the map, but like you have no idea how to get into the room that they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of all that, should we talk about the mechanics now?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Talking
like,
about how
listening to
hard
us,
it is.
like, what the fuck is this? They're just talking about all these numbers and these things.
um,
Oh well, we
So-
enjoyed the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna need to go into like every little mechanic that the game has in the game because there's a
Yeah.
lot of them.
I mean, it really
But-
focuses on two though. Like
Yeah,
wall driving
it-
and dashing are like the two main mechanics.
Yeah, the things that do make this stand out are that you have a dash, basically like the equivalent of a double jump, that just lets you jump in a certain direction, and you can climb onto walls and climb up them, and you have a certain amount of strength, so eventually that runs out, and that really
that makes it
plays
hard
into
sometimes.
like parts of it.
It's definitely how they make the fact that you can only hold onto walls for a limited period of time definitely makes a lot of places more challenging. Because now not only do you have to get good at the jumping, you also have a time frame for how long you can hold on to things, so you can't hesitate.
Yeah, it builds up a lot of like suspense and intensity of the game, like
Yeah.
a sense of rushness that you have to do in timing.
I really liked that. I just in general I really like the gameplay mechanics. Like they're super simple. It's like basically playing the original Mario, but you can also dash and hold onto walls.
Yeah,
And then, like I think they really got that core jumping and dashing gameplay down.
Yeah, and I think I definitely understand why, because the people who made this also made Towerfall Ascension, which also has very good like jumping but it's not a platformer.
Well, it is a platformer, but in a different way.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
PvP platformer fighter kind of game.
yeah, they just like took the mechanics of like jumping around and all that and made it into their own game.
Yeah.
And I was doing a bit of reading on this, and this was actually a concept for this game was made during a game jam.
You can play it.
Yeah, you can play it in the game.
Really?
And in the Celestial Resort, you can find a computer and you can play the original Game Jam game called the Pico 8. You like can once you find it, you can launch it from the menu, and you can play the entire Game Jam game. And there's like
There's
strawberries and stuff
30
in it
levels?
too. Yeah, there's
Wow.
30 levels in it. It's hard.
It is.
It's way harder than the regular game.
That is that's really interesting, and they got a lot of like little Easter egg stuff like that in this game, and I think that's one of the things that makes it really charming.
Like one thing I really liked was like finding all the blue hearts. Like me and Noah working together to figure it out was a lot of fun because we tried our best not to look up as much as possible so we could like figure it out. But there were certain things where we would like almost figure it out, but we couldn't figure out one part of it, so we had to look up like just the very end to solve the puzzle.
How dare you?
Well, if we hadn't, for some of them, we never would have figured it out.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of really weird mechanics for getting some of the blue hearts.
And like, if you never find the first blue heart and figure that one out, you're never gonna get another one of the blue hearts further on because like the puzzles are related.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's like this in the first level, the blue heart. You find this room with a radio antenna, and there's all these birds, and the birds all dash in different directions.
Oh, I actually read about that.
And so each one represents a different direction you're supposed to dash in. And then there's like a blinking light that associates with the order that you should do each dash. So then you have to do the dash related to the color related to the bird. And that took a long time to figure out.
Yeah, that's
But once we figure that out, then you also have to use that later in one of the final levels where you find a room that has the same colors in crystals in order, and then you have to do the same dash order as the original one, and it unlocks the first flame, and you have to do it 3 more times. But we couldn't figure out how to do the next 3 dashes. Like we had lots of ideas, and eventually we like basically figured out part of it. Like it was pretty obvious once we knew what to do, but we would not have figured it out ourselves, I don't think.
Yeah.
And you have to like change how you dash a bunch to get that blue heart. But the whole challenge of finding all the blue hearts has been interesting. And then the blue hearts unlock the core, which is like that whole other bonus level.
yeah. I need to spend more hours in this game to even come close to unlocking all that stuff.
Well, and there's still B-sides too. Like I don't even have the B-side in the first level
Like,
or
none of us have found
the fourth
C-sides.
level. Yeah, I don't even know where a C-side is still. Or a yellow heart. Like I have 1 red heart. I don't even know what yellow hearts look like.
Don't you get those for the seaside?
Yeah, but like that's just like another step. We have to like get the C-side, then get the yellow heart. And then
Yeah.
what do you do with the yellow heart? Because like the blue hearts unlock the core. So and that only uses 4 of the blue hearts. So the other 4 of the blue hearts to unlock something else. And then what happens with all the red hearts and the yellow hearts? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot more stuff.
I was told that there's, or well, I wasn't told. I actually read this that there's like 12 hearts in total, and you just need to collect any 4 of them to unlock
4?
the core. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. Like I only read that much. I don't. There could be a reason for having more hearts though. afterwards.
sure there's
it could be
stuff
just
here.
opening up the core, but then beyond that, who knows?
And then another interesting thing is like if you're looking at their like stats and stuff, if you go all the way, it tells you like what hearts you have.
Yeah, there's this.
Like reorganize the names of like the different hearts, and that's like the only place where you can like reorganize it. So I don't know if that has some like secret too.
Yeah, like if you go on like when you're in your selection screen for chapters, there's that little book in the bottom corner. So on it's ZL on Switch.
Yep.
So if you go to the last page, it's the 5th page. If you don't have a heart, it might not show up. There's all the hearts, and then if you like hold A on one of the hearts, you can like move the order the hearts appear in. That's the only thing you can do on that page. There's nothing else you can do on that page other than move the heart order, which implies in our mind that the order matters somehow, and then it might lead to something else.
Interesting.
But this game has a ton of hidden secrets.
I wanted to ask you guys. And I guess to keep on the same topic, sort of there is the one thing I didn't like about this game. Like, there's so much exploration for it that if you continue forward at certain points, you'll not be able to like go backtrack.
Yeah, I don't like when they did that. That really bothered me.
I did not really enjoy that, like, because
Yep, that was my
I'm the
biggest
type of
problem,
person
too.
where if there's branches of branches in a game, like, I go down one path and then slightly down that path, I backtrack and like, well, what if that was the main way? What am I missing over there? And stuff like that.
That's exactly what I do.
And when they forced me that, and I realized like I couldn't backtrack,
That bothered me a lot because there was definitely a bunch of times where you would jump up like through a tunnel and then you would get stuck. You couldn't go back down anymore. And that would
but
really
I think that
frustrate
also incentivizes playing the game multiple times.
me. Definitely.
Which I don't know,
there's enough stuff to actually look for that there's more reason to keep playing through the levels. No.
Yeah, definitely.
You want to find the B-sides and the hearts. But yeah, and you want to go back for the strawberries potentially. Because like doing this, like the summit, and like there's a lot in that last level. There's a lot of parts that like you double. There's splits. You go both ways, but you can only go one way. Like both cut you off so you can't backtrack. So then there's like a bunch of options basically. So there's a reason to go back and play down each of those paths in that last level.
Oh yeah, back to my one question that I wanted to ask. What's your guys' like favorite game mechanic that's environmental wise?
I love the dreaming one with like the dash sparkly cubes. Like those were so much fun.
If people who don't know, it's like this cube in the world that when you use your dash, you go through it and you like travel all the way through until it ends and you appear on the other side. But if you like hit a wall while going through that, you like die. So you have to strategically like pop out of certain open spaces with that.
And also, when you dash through them, it recharges your dashes. I don't know if you said that already.
Yeah, that's like, I think that's every mechanic in the game.
Yeah, pretty much all mechanics give you your dash back, which is super nice.
Yeah, and that like opens up a lot more like map design.
Yeah, because they definitely use that to their advantage a lot.
Yeah, so
where you have to like perfectly like jump between multiple like things, like the little crit gems that like give you your dodge back, like tons of times where you're like dodging again, grabbing a crystal, dodging 2 more times, grabbing another crystal, dodging 2 more times, and like you don't touch any ground for like a really long time.
Yeah.
Zoning also refreshes your dashes, which is used to get one of the hearts, and I've also found a strawberry too, I think, that way.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
So now the screen swipes to the side, and like you like move between zones.
Oh yeah.
Like so it's not like a connected level. You don't just like keep going. The screen scrolls with you. You like hit that wall, and it like kind of like moves over, and then moves back if you go back to the other room.
Yep.
So if you're in a space that has that you can dash back and forth between the levels, every time you dash between the 2 levels, you get your dodge back, your dash back. I mean.
Oh, interesting.
So there's some hidden. One of the hearts is only attainable because you have to sit right on that edge between 2 zones and dash back and forth between the 2 zones up into the sky, and then grab on the side of the mountain and keep climbing.
Wow.
Yep.
It's
ridiculous. One of my favorite mechanics was the bouncing pads that when you run over them, you like bounce up.
Oh yeah, the spring ones like.
Yeah, the spring pads.
Yeah, those were awesome.
Yeah, those are fun.
Those were my favorite. And when they like start moving around or something in some levels, just getting really crazy. I just love the little sound effects of like the spring going off when you go over it.
When you're in that big first like area of the summit where you have your double dash and then you're doing lots of springs, that was really fun.
Yeah. And that's where I just like appreciate the mechanic where they're like, let's just refresh their double jump, because then you got to do cool shit like that, bouncing all around, double jumping everywhere.
I definitely feel like the game does a really good job of like progressing. Like your basic mechanics are the same throughout the entire game, but somehow you always feel like you're getting better, and like the mechanics like build on your knowledge more and more, and so you keep getting better at the game because of that. It like really makes you, at least even if you're not actually getting better, it makes you feel like you're getting better at the game.
Anything that you guys like, Noah? Or
I really like. Oh, what level were they in? The blocks where you could like, there's like buttons on them, and you could like go up and down with them, or like you could like manipulate which direction they like floated.
Oh yeah,
Those ones became really annoying for me.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I liked the idea behind them, but I always fucked those up so often.
Yeah, I liked some parts where you have to activate those, and then you have to position it just right, and then do some jumping and wall grabbing while that one's like going through blue crystals or something.
Yep.
An area that you can't jump to, and you have to
jump
like, keep
back on
up
it,
with it.
keep moving it again. Those were hard.
Yeah, but yeah, those were pretty fun. I'm just glad there's not too many of those, because I also had some trouble getting them just right.
Yeah.
What'd you like, Zach?
I liked those like unlockable doors that you had to grab the
key?
flip all the switches.
Oh yeah, those ones.
I kind of liked that.
The like circle with the eye looking things that you have to activate?
Yeah.
And they like move a block afterwards.
Okay, yeah. Those can be frustrated, like, because you have those and then they mix the mechanics together, so like
they would
that,
mix those with, like,
springboards,
mix them with every mechanic. There was like tons of combos with those things.
or just like their basic enemy AI, or like those red mushroom cloud looking things. Not mushroom cloud, like red clouds that like move back and forth.
Oh yeah,
Touch
in the
them.
hotel.
Yeah, stuff like
those,
that.
Those enemies were really annoying.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the one place I disliked the most, I really loved the Mirror Temple until you went into the alternate dimension and you have to fight against those like weird alien monsters.
Yeah, I really hated those. Like, especially the ones where you had to like get them to break a block.
Yes.
It was just so annoying.
That was like the only time I really didn't like the game. Those parts just really were not fun in my opinion. Especially when you had to carry Theo in his crystal.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed that part.
That part was kind of funny because you could like chuck him. That kind of added a little bit.
Oh, it's pretty interesting. What'd you guys think of the art? Like, because they used a couple different styles.
I like the art, but I think they did some weird stuff with having so many different art styles all in one game. Like, I think the pixel style is really solid. And like the pixel art all looks great.
And the illustrations for like dialogues and stuff I thought was really good, and like the selfies and stuff I really liked.
I would agree with all that, but I really wasn't a fan of the fact that we had the 3D map.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it just didn't connect to the other two art styles in a meaningful way. And like I kind of understood where they're going. Like they want to have like this 3D world. You can like see how everything's like connected. But I think they should have done a different art style than just low poly models.
There was
like if they know how you like when you're selecting your level.
Yeah.
Your level?
Oh yeah.
You're like moving around the 3D world, and like there's all these different like I don't know like low poly 3D assets. Yeah. And I personally did not like that art style. I feel like it didn't match anything else in the game. That's my opinion. I feel like what I would have liked personally is if they had done something where they still did pixel art but had it 3D, where you do like cutouts, like sprite cutouts or something.
Like voxel?
No, not voxel, but that could have worked too. Have you any of you guys played Nidhogg 2?
I have
no, but I've seen it.
So Nidhogg 2's like map selection is like 3D, but everything is 2D planes, but it exists in a 3D world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I feel like that art style would have fit this better because it would still fit the art that you're playing the gameplay in. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I think it works okay, but I think that also could have probably fit the overall kind of setting a little bit more.
Yeah, pretty big fan of the art. It's pretty standard of like the 16-bit or 8-bit games that people do. I also liked that they did a little bit more details with like when Leo would do his selfies or something like that.
Yeah, I think the like mix of illustrations with the pixel art worked well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they still felt like the same characters. Like, even though the art was changing, it all fit together still.
Yeah, like it is like kind of the 16-bit style is pretty simple, but I feel like they got a lot out of it. Like the backgrounds have a lot of animation to it. Your character has a lot of animation. There's a lot of animation all around, and I think it works really well.
Even the environments and like the different levels, there's a lot of detail going on, even though it's all pixelated. So yeah.
I don't know. Overall, I really liked the art, though. I think it was really solid. Should we talk about the music?
Definitely have to talk about the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, music's good. Okay. Move on.
The music was really good.
Like so good.
Awesome. The funny thing is like before I even played this game, when this game came out, I followed some certain people on Twitter who did play the game, and they didn't play it enough, or they didn't sell me enough on buying the game then. But I really liked the music, so I've actually, before I even played this game, I listened to the whole soundtrack and the B-sides soundtrack many times before I even played this game. The soundtrack is so good, though.
Yep.
I feel like
I also listened to it before the game came out, kind of along with Inner Space, but unlike Inner Space, this game's actually good.
Yeah.
Did you guys read at all something about like the music of this being like had meaning and like was trying to create a story?
No, I did not.
Okay, I don't know if I'm making this up or not, so I won't say it. But I felt like I could have read something like they had an inspiration of music for this game to sort of go along with the narrative of the game as well.
I really liked the narrative of this game.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a necessarily very strong narrative in any way, but I would say that the narrative very much resonated with me in a way that I did not expect. I felt like with the narrative, the story they were trying to tell about, like, kind of, I don't know, this is where it gets a little personal for everyone's individual perspective, but they're like trying to tell the narrative of like that personal self and like that conflict in yourself and like trying to understand the different parts of you. And personally, with some stuff I'm going through right now, that really connected to me in a good way and like helped me through some things.
Yeah, so we're getting into spoiler territory now, so talking about the story. What I got out of it was I felt like Madeline was battling depression.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too.
And like her climbing this mountain is like a way to get a sense of accomplishment and doing something that she told herself that she can do and like not beat herself up over or something like that. Trying to overcome like her depression, or I guess. And what this mountain does apparently is like bring out that inner demon of her and like created another version of her that was like terrorizing her as you go throughout the game.
Yeah, like split her in two almost.
Yeah, split personality. And I thought that was actually pretty cool that because at one point of the game, like it brings into a sequence where she like is chasing you, and you have to get away from her, and like you backtrack through the whole map that you already gone through, and you just have to do it really quickly before she like gets you. And I thought that added a lot of excitement to the game, pretty much.
I definitely feel like they did a good mix of gameplay with their storytelling and like connecting the two in a solid way.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think, like, I don't know, just in general, I really liked the story that they were trying to tell. And like I think I probably interpreted it slightly different than you guys, but that's also because we're all, you know, having our own personal experiences that are, you know, of very different places. I don't know where all of you guys are internally for yourselves, so that's a totally different topic that I'm not going to go into. But I feel like this game in some weird way helped me that I didn't expect at all to get that out of this game. And in general, I just feel like they broached this topic that is not normally talked about in video games at all, and they did it in a very successful way.
Yeah, I agree. And not only like do you see Madeline's like demons haunting her, like you also get to see Theo's.
Mm-hmm.
And what I got like what I took out of it was like he seems like pressured by like social media and attention, and that's why he does so many selfies and everything.
And sees all the eyes watching him all the time.
Yeah, like people constantly looking at him, judging him, stuff like that. So it's cool to see like different people that's also on the mountain experiencing different things.
Yeah,
But still, altogether, everyone's still struggling.
I think they did a solid job of like showing that we all have our own internal struggles, and they might not all be the same, and it might not be visible to everyone else, but everyone's going through them, and it's just not obvious to all of us. Because I think in general, this is kind of a side tangent, but humans are really good about lying to other people. We're really good about faking our personal sanity
Yeah.
for the betterment of everyone else's sanity. And that's kind of depressing, but I think that it's also very true.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just like the basic answer that you give every time somebody asks you what's going on. You're
Like,
just
how
like,
are
"Oh,
you? You're
doing
like,
fine."
fine.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, you
Even
don't.
though there's billions of things going on in your life that you could answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, one thing that I actually didn't like about the story was how fast they kind of resolved and made up. Because what Madeline did to basically resolve her issues was like going to talking with her demon and figuring out what's wrong and everything. But I felt like that just happened a little too fast.
I could understand where you get that. For me, it didn't come off that way, but I also played the overall story over a much broader time period. Like, I started the game a long time ago and only finished the actual last mission yesterday.
Oh, so it straight up took you 22 hours.
Yeah, it actually took me
Finally
22
finished.
hours to complete the whole thing, but I was doing other like things
Oh,
in the
every
process.
side thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's different because I kind of went through it in a slower pace. But I can kind of understand where you're coming with that. One thing I think was interesting is that like they show like at first in the story she tries to just basically destroy her other self, and then that kind of fucks everything up, which then leads to the last mission where they have to like work together. But it does kind of get resolved all in like one mission.
Yeah. That was like the longest mission.
Yeah. I really like the mission where you actually have to like chase her down and like fight her. That was
Yeah.
pretty fun. Like chasing
Felt
her,
forever.
like all those laser beams and everything. Like that was hard, and it was also fun,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
It actually felt like a boss in a
Yeah.
game that doesn't really have enemies. Which felt really cool.
In general, a lot of this game is just learning the mechanics of the room and learning the spacing and timing needed for each jump. It's like every room is a puzzle and figuring out the timing, where to jump, and like what mechanics to use.
Yeah.
I really like that about the game.
But it's also interesting, like, because I feel like Mitch and I had kind of a unique way of doing it, because like we got to like kind of watch each other, and you get to see that like people do different puzzles different ways. Like there's different, like there's not just like one set way necessarily for every puzzle. Some puzzles there were, but like there's definitely different ways to go about doing different problems in the game.
Yeah, because we were just talking about that today. Because when Noah came over earlier, he was showing me where one of the hearts was, and so we were working on like getting some stuff to get the heart, and we were talking about how I was doing some things very differently than he would do, just stuff like that. Just different mindsets on about how to go through. I don't know. It's interesting.
I can't think of anything else to talk about.
Oh, for me with this whole game, it has been a lot of fun and also extremely infuriating.
Yeah.
It's been a mix of the two, but in general, mostly fun, because if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't keep playing even when I'm pissed off at the game.
Well, there's like such a sense of like accomplishment once you get over like a part you've
Yeah.
been stuck on for so long.
And that's definitely, I think, the biggest reason is because it's so difficult when you do finish it. That you're right. That sense of accomplishment is really good. Like
Yeah, it's definitely along the lines of those games like Cuphead or
Dark
Super
Souls.
Meat Boy or Dark Souls. Just the games that you do kind of get stuck on certain parts quite a bit, and overcoming them is actually pretty satisfying.
Yeah, it's one of those games where like you're happy you bought it and tried it. Like
Yeah.
if what was it, $20 game?
Yeah, $20.
Yeah,
I
20.
think I got it on sale, so it's probably like
Yeah,
$15 or $10 or something when I got it.
Yeah. So like a really cheap game, and there's like just a lot of content and like
Yeah, because like even though I've
Yeah.
now finished it, there's still so much I want to do. Like I need to beat the core and collect all the rest of the B-sides, beat every B-side, and then somehow find every C-side, and then beat those.
God,
and then
can you
whatever
imagine if
else
those are harder than the B-side.
I'm sure they're going to be harder than the B-sides, and the B-sides are already really hard. Like, there's just a lot more to do, and I've already put 22 hours into the game and really enjoyed my time with it. So right now I'm at like a little less than $1 an hour. That seems worth it so far.
I'd say
Yeah.
so.
Yep, I definitely think it's worth it, but really only if you like this kind of game. Like, it's kind of
Kinda
goes
neat.
without saying, but like different people like different kinds of games. If you like platformer games, if you like hard games, I think this one is a must try, especially if you have a Switch.
Oh, that was my favorite thing about this game, and especially just the Switch in general. Like, the whole reason I even just beat the game was because like I took it to work, and during my 1 hour breaks or lunch breaks, I just played the game for majority of the time.
That's the same for me, basically. I would bring my Switch with me to class, and then between my class and work, I had like an hour and a half break, and that's what I would do is just play the Switch in that time period. Honestly, like, this game has made me like the Switch more than I did prior, because it was like a game I wanted to keep playing and made me want to bring my Switch with me everywhere.
And this game's like super easy to play because it's just a platforming game, and like every time you go into a new area, like you can just easily put it down.
Yeah, you can
And
save
pick
and
it
quit
back up.
and just pick it right back up wherever you left off, pretty much.
That definitely makes it easy to just like play anywhere, because the fact that you could just get to a new room and just save and quit right there was awesome.
Just do it with all in a minute.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm going to play for 10 minutes, get through one room, but you still accomplish something, so and you don't lose progress. It was actually worth playing it, even if it was only 10 minutes.
Yeah. I have nothing else to talk about except for more mechanics if we want to.
If you have more mechanics you want to talk about, I'm down.
Well, there's just like all the environmental ones.
There's a lot of different environmental
Yeah,
mechanics.
so I don't want to like talk about all of them.
Yeah.
Unless somebody else has anything to say.
Oh no, I was really surprised just in general. But when I first got the game and I realized what the mechanics were, like just jumping and dashing, I didn't think it would get much, like change much as you went. But like each level drastically changes the mechanics by adding the new environmental mechanics, which I was not expecting.
Yeah, creating a game like this like really tests your experience as like a game designer, because
Yeah.
like they just take a really simple mechanic and they're like, how can we build off this one thing? Just jumping and dashing.
Yeah.
And then they would even like change some of the environmental mechanics over time too, like the
Yeah.
orbs where you could like get in it and then dash a direction, and then you could get in them and then dash infinitely in that direction, and like just that one change made a huge difference in how they worked.
Yeah, and it made like every little area and level like fresh and not
Yeah.
repetitive. So yeah.
Like even though you were always avoiding the same two crystals, whether they're red or blue or pink or whatever, it was always different because of the mechanics in the level. Like when they added wind was a really interesting mechanic.
Oh, boy, yeah.
That one was really hard sometimes because the wind made it so you had to be way more in control of your speed and like how fast you're moving. Because
It's difficult.
that was really hard trying to get through some of those areas with the wind. Because like you need, like when the wind was going against you, so wind is blowing left and you have to go right, that was where speed became the most important thing to like control. Because like if you weren't holding over all the way to the right, then you would instantly fly back. But sometimes you needed to let go just enough so you could like control where you landed. And that was really hard to like get that balance between the two.
Yeah, I like their even like simpler, more subtle mechanics where the one with the feather.
Oh yeah, I was not
Oh.
expecting anything like the feather.
Yeah, feather was cool.
But why like the interesting thing that they did with the feather was it could be just floating there and you can just jump on it and get it, and then you control like this ball that sends you in a single direction and you just control it. But then there's also a feather inside a bubble, and the only way you can get that one is if you dash through and
Yeah.
get the feather. That little subtle thing where like now you have to dash to actually get the feather instead of just touching the feather. Like that little added mechanic.
So it makes it that slightly bit harder.
Yeah.
So that you need to be more aware of how you're using your dashes. Oh, that's one thing. Have either of you two played the core at all?
No.
Oh god.
Nope.
I don't even
Because-
have it unlocked.
Okay, so the core adds something completely new mechanically that is really frustrating.
Yeah.
So when you're in the core, you don't get your dashes back ever.
Oh wait,
Touch
yeah.
the ground.
I was slightly in there actually.
So the only way to get your dashes back is to get gems
Or
Oh.
go to the next room.
or go to the next room or die.
Fun.
They do not recharge, so you have to be extremely careful with how you dash, which is part of the reason the core is so hard, because you have to think much more carefully about using your dashes
and timing.
and timing. And then they also introduce ice and lava worlds, and so the world changes when you press these switches. There's these switches you flip over, and if you touch them, the world will. If it's lava, it changes to ice, and if it's ice, it changes to lava. And then the elements in the world completely change. So when you're on lava, there's fireballs moving across the map everywhere, and they just kill you instantly. But when it's ice, you can land on the top of the ice balls and like bounce off of them, but the bottoms of the ice balls kill you. And then there's also the bumpers. Do you remember the bumpers that you like jump on, they bounce you?
Yeah, the springs.
So the bumpers are also there. So when you're in ice, the bumpers exist. When you're in fire, they just kill you on touching them. So like there's all these mechanics of like timing your dashes since you don't get them back, and switching between ice and fire, and all of that, and like it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I need
But
to
it's-
unlock that. That sounds fun.
All you need is 4 hearts, and you can go through the level.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't finished it yet, but you should be able to get 4 hearts, and like you can just look them up too. And once you look them up, they shouldn't be too hard to get.
Yeah.
But there's 1 heart for every level, or 1 blue heart for every level, and then the B-sides too. I still have to get the B-side for the first level and the 4th level. Which we already talked about the B-sides, right? Only
Yeah.
me and Nick had finished one, right?
I finished one.
Oh, okay. Zach finished one too. Well,
Yeah, I did it in one try, like one sitting.
yeah, that's what I did too.
But took a lot of deaths.
It was a rough challenge, but I'm definitely gonna try the other B-sides eventually. Oh, in the future, just when I have time, because that's like something I'm gonna want to probably just sit down and like try to do in one sitting.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Good luck. The summit is hard. I already in the beginning, like in the 4th or 5th one, I'm already stuck.
Oh, you're on the Summit's B-side?
Yeah,
Oh man,
I've got that one.
that one will probably be very hard.
Yeah,
I've seen 4 B-sides.
and they give you the like extra double jump or whatever.
Oh, you still have the double dash.
jump or triple dash or whatever you want to call it.
I would call it double dash.
Double dash, yeah.
The
That's
double
what-
dash is super nice.
Yeah. It's so so after beating the game, like going back into like old levels to try to like find stuff I missed, it was so hard not to like try to double dash.
Got to retrain your brain. You get so used
Yeah.
to it. And then, like the core also still has double dash because it's the level past. So then like going back from the core to going to like a B side was like a big jump. I don't know, that's pretty much everything I have though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Very fun game. Very difficult. Very frustrating.
very worth it.
Yes, very worth it.
Yeah.
Get it on the Switch.
No, get it on Steam. Just because I don't have a Switch. If I had a Switch, I probably would have gotten it on Switch. But
Yeah, if I had a Switch, I probably would have gotten it on Switch.
It's a good Switch game.
Buy a Switch first, then buy games.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 is coming out soon. Get a Switch for that.
Yeah. Although one nice thing about Steam is it has achievements.
That's true.
Whatever.
So if you're an achievement whore,
I'm not an achievement whore.
I've got
so-
10 out of 30 achievements.
I forget. I have 17 out of.
I have 0 out of 0.
Because you're a scrub and got it for the Switch.
Oh, you're a scrub because you don't have a Switch.
Nah, I don't have a Switch because I don't have enough money. I don't know. I'll probably get one eventually. But yeah, good game. Would recommend if you like that sort of thing. And we're out.